If we talk about communities, why it's so challenging to keep them engaged, and what is it that marketers are not getting right, and how successful communities can really benefit the brand in a big way.
See, the minute Web 2 started, which is the two-way communication started, your consumer was a lot more empowered than before. Now, the minute you put up something and a brand put it out, consumer could call out your bullshit. In a conscious world where you in a second can do a product review, in a second you can go and find out, does it work, does it not work, in a second you can see, is it made in the right factory, etc. The conscious consumer is on the rise. As the conscious consumer is on the rise, the conscious consumer wants ownership on their brand. If Dove is going out and talking of real beauty, they want to know, are you doing something for real beauty? Which is why when a Fair and Lovely suddenly changes its name or whatever, people will call it out, saying, no, your whitening is no longer. And people, brands should realize this. Brands should say, are we relevant anymore? And this big battle for relevance is something that a brand must fight. Now, when you reach out to consumers, your first fear is, oh my God, I'm giving power in the hands. So see, it's always been one-way power, right? Now you're giving power to the consumer. You've got to be prepared for a little bit of negative feedback. You must be prepared. So therefore, brands are scared of building communities. But if you build a community with strong guardrails, first thing is, you should not try to control the community entirely. That's the first mistake. Everybody says, you know what? I will choose the creator. I will choose who will be part of this community. And I tell brands, I said, you're absolutely wrong. You have to build a platform for these people to come together. Then you have to build the guardrails, which is, this is right, this is allowed, this is not allowed. But ये मेरा घर है, इसमें ये allowed है, ये नहीं. The third thing you need to do is you need to solve a deep problem for a community to exist. Right? If you're not solving that problem and you're just doing it for the sake of things, oh, let's build a community of girls and call it gang of girls. Fine. What are you doing for them? And you must know that communities are successful when power and control moves away from the center. I may start it, but slowly the consumer wants to take the empowerment. They want to do it. So at Commune, for example, we run city chapters. We run small communities of script writers, poetry, music, etc. I always sit with my team and I say just one thing. I said, are they taking charge? How are you empowering them? What are the codes of the community? What is allowed? What is not allowed? How are you celebrating the heroines and heroes of the community? These are some very powerful things that drive communities. Communities want ownership. Communities want a voice. Communities want some system of hierarchy over a period of time. Communities want codes. These are things. But what happens is, and communities are built between minimum of 12 to 24 months. So when marketers reach out and say, a community banate hain, I'm like, what is your long-term vision? Will you support it for 3 years, 5 years? If in the 5th year the marketeer changes, will you let us take over the community? Because if you don't, you have taken people in a journey and left them, what we said, particularly beach majdhar mein chhod diya, right? So the problem in today's day and age is, I find many marketeers have a vision which is 3 years, which is the time they believe they will spend in a brand. In 3 years, what can I achieve? How can I prove I did something really well? Can I win some awards? But community building is a long-term thing. And this needs to come from top down. When Asian Paints is supporting ST Plus Art, which is the agency which is building the Mumbai Urban Arts Festival or building street art, there's a very common thing. To build street art, to make street art, you need paint. Asian Paints is about paint, it's about color, it's about beautifying lives, about making things more beautiful. Here are people who are beautifying your city. There's an intersection. We will support it. They will support it long term. I've seen it already happening for a couple of years. From the famous Bachchan mural that happened in Bombay, to the Gandhi mural that happened in another city, to Lodi Colony in Delhi, to the Sassoon docks in Bombay. you need to deeply invest. Now, this happens because the head of the company has decided and is doing this for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Red Bull has been doing this now for endless years. Spotify in 2019 built a podcasting community along with us. They have an entire division that's focused on it, right? But you need to give the community more power, which is very difficult for brands to do. So it takes a brave brand to build a community, but once you build a great community, really there's no looking back, because they become your advocates, they become your ambassadors, they are your free marketing.